Okay, let's talk about AI. And I mean, let's really talk about it. Forget the sci-fi stuff for a second. Artificial intelligence is here, right now, and it is already a massive global force that's changing everything. Our jobs, our economies, our entire societies. So over the next few minutes, we're going to dive into both sides of this thing, the incredible mind-blowing promise and the very real risks. We'll unpack the huge choices that we all have to face as we step into this brand new future. And where do we even begin? Well, how about with a pretty chilling warning? When a scientist who used to work at OpenAI, we're talking one of the most advanced AI labs on the entire planet, tells the world you have no idea what's coming, you kind of have to listen. This isn't just marketing hype. It's a signal right from the inside that we are on the edge of something, well, something truly transformative. And maybe, just maybe, something we can't fully control. So first, we have to look at the side of the coin that has so many experts sounding the alarm. Let's talk about the profound and, frankly, unpredictable risks. What's the core issue here? Honestly, it all comes down to speed. AI is evolving at this absolutely breathtaking pace, so fast that our laws, our governments, and even our own ability to understand it just can't keep up. This incredible speed, this acceleration, that's the real heart of the challenge. And that speed leads to this fascinating and, gotta say, slightly unnerving idea called emergent behaviors. Think of it like this. You can teach a kid all the rules of grammar, but you don't explicitly teach them how to write a beautiful poem. At some point, they just figure that out on their own. Well, AI is starting to do the exact same thing. It's developing new skills and reasoning that we never programmed into it. And that creative leap? It's also a giant leap into total unpredictability. So that unpredictability leads us to maybe the biggest question of them all. What happens when an AI isn't just smarter than us in a way we can measure, but it starts to think in ways we literally cannot understand? What kinds of decisions would a system like that make? And how could we ever hope to guide or control something that's operating beyond our own comprehension? And this brings us to some very real-world risks. At the highest level, you've got what they call the alignment problem. An AI that pursues a goal so perfectly and logically that it becomes destructive, simply because it doesn't share our common-sense human values. But the shock that's coming much sooner is economic. We are talking about automation on a scale that could displace millions upon millions of jobs, forcing every single country to completely rethink the very idea of work and what our social safety nets look like. But, okay, deep breath. That is only half of the story. Because for every single risk, AI is also proving to be one of the most powerful engines for innovation and progress that humanity has ever created. And this right here, this comparison, it just perfectly captures the central paradox, doesn't it? The exact same force, automation, that threatens to completely upend our job markets is also the key to unlocking levels of productivity and innovation we've never seen before. The threat and the promise, they are two sides of the very same coin. And the potential upside here is just, it's extraordinary. Seriously, imagine an AI that can scan millions of medical studies in a few seconds and discover a new target for a cancer drug that human scientists might have missed for decades. That's not just a small efficiency gain. That's a world-changing breakthrough that could revolutionize medicine, supercharge the economy, and literally save lives. This is the incredible future that's also on the table. So what happens when you zoom out from all this and look at the whole global picture? Well, this isn't just about new tech. This is a geopolitical revolution. And believe me, it is already redrawing the map of world power as we speak. Let's be really clear about this. Being a leader in artificial intelligence is quickly becoming just as important for a nation's power as having a strong economy or a powerful military. The countries that get this right and master this technology are going to have a massive, massive advantage in shaping the entire 21st century. And this chart? Wow. It tells a really stark story. As of right now, the huge majority of the resources you need for cutting-edge AI, we're talking computing power, funding, top-tier scientists, it's all concentrated in just a handful of countries. The danger here is pretty obvious, right? We're looking at a future with a new kind of global divide, a world where most nations could become totally dependent technologically on the few that control AI. And that could create deep new inequalities and become a whole new source of tension around the world. So we've seen the huge risks. We've seen the incredible promise. And that brings us to the most important part of this whole conversation. Knowing all that, how do we choose the right path forward? This quote from the researcher Usman Ghani, it really just hits the nail on the head. The technology itself isn't good or bad. It just is. The final outcome, whether this is amazing for us or a total disaster, depends entirely on whether we can build the right rules and guardrails around it. Without that governance, we are just rolling the dice. So what does that path forward actually look like? Well, the consensus seems to be pointing to three absolutely critical steps. First, no one country can solve this alone. This has to be a global effort. Second, we have to urgently develop strong ethical frameworks. Those are the guardrails that guide how this stuff gets built. And finally, we have to get really good at this tricky balancing act between pushing innovation forward while also knowing when to be cautious and tap the brakes. Which brings us right here to this final, crucial question. The power of AI is almost beyond imagining. It could elevate humanity to heights we've only dreamed of, or it could create risks that we simply can't control. The technology isn't going to choose that path for us. That choice, well, it's ours. So which future are we going to build?